Deserts are often portrayed as empty wastelands, but the truth is that, although their surface seems to have little to offer, there are countless things to discover beneath their immense sand dunes. For decades, archaeologists have managed to unearth a large number of fossils in the desert landscapes. But did you know that this is not the only surprising thing that can be found there? From ghost ships to prehistoric whales, including World War II vehicles among others, these are 5 creepy things found deep in the desert. Number 5. Prehistoric Crocodile. Scattered and hidden all over the planet, fossils are nothing more than the remains of organisms that belong to the past and have been embedded and preserved in the Earth's crust. Despite the great variety of fossils found, the Sahara Desert boasts one of the oldest, largest, and most unusual fossil remains in the world. In 2014, a team of paleontologists discovered the remains of one of the largest crocodiles ever discovered in Tunisia, at the edge of the Sahara Desert. Known as Machimosaurus rex, this prehistoric beast was twice the size of modern crocodiles. It must have weighed at least 2,993 kilograms and measured about 9.8 meters long. Its skull measured more than 1.5 meters. Having into account its size and strength, it is very likely that Machimosaurus rex was at the top of the food chain, within what was once the ocean that separated Africa from Europe some 130 million years ago. Apart from its colossal size, this finding was somewhat curious, as it was believed that this type of crocodile had disappeared during the mass extinction episode that took place between the Jurassic and the Cretaceous 150 million years ago. However, this discovery suggests that this extinction did not have the radical impact that some paleontologists believed. Number 4. Limbed whales. Wadi al-Hitan, also known as the Valley of the Whales, is an archaeological site located in the city of Fayoum, northern Egypt, which was named as UNESCO World Heritage Site in 2005 following the discovery of a series of little-known fossils. The valley, as its name suggests, was named so because of a large concentration of high-quality marine fossils found in this area. The most important find is believed to be that of the suborder of an extinct whale called Archaeoceti. These fossils represent nothing more and nothing less than a key link in the history of evolution, the landfall of whales. The first fossils were found in 1902, and it should be noted that, at first, this site attracted little interest from archaeologists because it was very difficult to access. But everything changed after the incorporation of four-wheel drive vehicles became available from the 1980s onwards. The largest skeleton reached 21 meters in length, possessed fins with 5 perfectly developed toes in the forelimbs, as well as a pair of hind legs and toes that had never before been seen in an Archaeoceti. Apart from whales, hundreds of marine animals were discovered at this site, including crocodiles, turtles, sharks, and rays. In fact, some of the fossils are so well preserved that their stomachs still lie intact. Number 3. A World War II P40 Kitty Hawk. On June 28, 1942, Flight Sergeant Dennis Copping was on his way to a British base in the middle of the Sahara Desert in a damaged P40 Kitty Hawk aircraft. The objective? To repair said aircraft. The problem is that, at some point in his journey, both the aircraft and the young pilot disappeared without a trace. It wasn't until 2012 when an oil worker stumbled upon the wreckage of the aircraft. The most curious thing of all was that the P40 Kitty Hawk was found almost intact, as if it had never suffered any kind of mishap. And furthermore, there was still evidence that someone had used a parachute to raise a shelter with it. After the discovery, the aircraft was taken to Al Alamein Military Museum in Egypt to be restored, an idea that did not please everyone. Some considered that the plane should not have been moved from the place where it was found, as a tribute to the young pilot who probably died. Others, on the other hand, suggested that the restoration work carried out at the museum made the aircraft look much worse than it was. However, while people debated about the aircraft, there was no sign of Dennis Copping. his fate will be part of another of the many mysteries surrounding the famous Sahara Desert. Number 2. Ghost ships in the desert. Throughout history, there has been talk about numerous ghost ships, those ships that seem to sail aimlessly and without crew, as well as those that disappeared in the waters of our seas or oceans and were never seen again. One of the places where no one would expect to find one of these lost ships is in the middle of a desert wasteland. But you might be surprised to learn that, over the last few centuries, the number of ships found in such a place has only increased. In 1775, a muleteer named Tiburcio Mankerna, who at the time was traveling with Gian Battista de Anza on his mission to find a route from Sonora to Alta California, came across a Spanish galleon. But not only did he find the ship, but according to Mankerna, he entered it and found a treasure of pearls and gold coins. Unfortunately, he never knew how to relocate the mysterious ship until 1862, when it was reported that a flood along the Colorado River had uncovered a Spanish galleon in the middle of the desert. Apparently, many witnesses were able to spot the ship, but after organizing an expedition to reach it, the mysterious ship disappeared again without a trace. From then on, several more expeditions were carried out to try to find that enigmatic Spanish galleon that, just as it appeared, disappeared again as if it had never existed. The most disturbing thing of all is that many of the explorers who claimed to have found it never managed to return. It was as if the ship lured and trapped them forever. Sightings continued throughout the 1900s, and reports from then on told of a wooden ship with a kind of snake carved into the bow. However, no one to date has been able to pinpoint its exact location. Theories about how a ship ended up in the middle of the desert are diverse. Some talk about the possibility that it was stranded after traveling down a river that is now extinct. Others speak of storms that may have swept it inland, or perhaps a flood. But perhaps the most important question is, did this ship really exist, or was it just a legend? Maybe someday someone will find it again and we will be able to solve the mystery of the Spanish galleon lost in the middle of the desert. Number 1. Deathworm. Covering approximately 500,000 square miles, the Gobi Desert stretches from northern China to southern Mongolia, making it the 5th largest desert in the world. American Roy Chapman Andrews of the American Museum of Natural History led several expeditions to the Gobi between 1922 and 1930. In his work, The Reconquest of Central Asia, Andrews not only leaves a vivid description of the picturesque landscapes of the great Mongolian desert, but also had time to document the beliefs of its inhabitants. Thus, he became the first Westerner to divulge the stories told by the nomadic shepherds of the Gobi about the terrible Olgoi-Khorkhoi, also known as the Worm of Death. It is a legendary creature that is approximately 90 to 120 centimeters long, reddish in color, and has spines on the end of its body. To touch it would be to guarantee your death. Those who have seen it claim that this animal travels under the earth, killing everything in its path. Despite the numerous expeditions that have been carried out to find it, this cryptid is still part of folklore, although it may only be for now, since according to some experts and researchers, there is no reason why this deathworm cannot really inhabit the deepest part of the desert. Deserts are lonely and arid places that, apart from hiding countless secrets, have become the setting for numerous horror stories, sinister mysteries, and unexpected encounters with creepy creatures. It may seem as if the arid desert wastelands were completely devoid of life, but not only does life lurk within the endless expanses of sand dunes, but death also lurks in these desert wastelands. Would you like to know more about these stories? If so, check out our next video.